All right, lads. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? Wednesday evening. Fuck, man. I am definitely only going to be staying for about an hour or so because, God, I'm fucking tired today. Jesus Christ, people. We get this chat in, we get chatting, we get talking. I want to get everyone's thoughts on this. Bob Arum has been saying today that it's pretty much a done deal. Fury, Joshua Fury, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty much a done deal, right? So we're looking good to get this fight announced in the coming weeks. So, man, I am stoked about this fight. I've seen so many people kind of saying that, like, it's going to happen, but then Fury doesn't want it, and other people saying Joshua doesn't want it. It's a bit all up in the air when it was starting. You know, I'll tell you this, right? When this was first announced, because remember news of this kind of started to break last summer. It was kind of last summer when there was no boxing, mind you. This news of this broke, right? And I remember at the time not really giving it much attention. Seriously, I mean, people were saying that it was agreed, this, that, and the other. But I remember last year thinking, you know what? I reckon this is just a bit of teasing, just to get some boxing news out there, because there wasn't any. But then the longer it went, the more, and I believe you me, it took me a while to start kind of buying into the fact that this fight was really being talked about. I kind of thought both parties would be going one way or the other. I thought Fury would go the Wilder route. I thought Joshua would end up going probably down looking at a Dylan White rematch or something like that. Or Dylan White was in like kind of the pick. So I was always kind of like, this fight is just being talked about, but there's too much stuff in the way. And now we're getting pretty much close to an announcement being made. Man, I'm stoked for this. I really, really, really want to see this fight. I can't, man. I am damn near, I'm 100% convinced. I'll go with it. I'm 100% sure we're going to get this fight this year. AJ versus Fury. Whether we get two this year, I don't know. I could be pushing it, depending on how the first one goes. But I am telling you now, we are getting two AJ Fury fights this year. Or we're getting one AJ Fury fight this year. I'm 100% convinced. 100%. Man, I'm looking forward to this. And think of it like this, right? 2020, for those few months, and believe you me, it was tough. For those few months we had no boxing, hardly any news, hardly anything to talk about. 2021 is just, it's been given. We're getting Rumvasai Estrada, or we're getting Chocolatito Estrada next week. Taylor Ramirez. We're getting White Povetkin rematch. We're probably going to get Usyk Joyce, AJ Fury potentially. We may see Andy Ruiz in there with a Deontay Wilder or someone like that. Charlo versus Cassiano. I think it's Brian Castano. I think that's the guy's name. We're getting that. Probably going to get that. Jesus, people, there is so much good stuff happening in 2021 in terms of boxing. It's not even funny. It's great. I mean, considering 2020 was such a write-off, who would have thought we'd get all these good fights? We're getting Canelo versus Billy Joe. Might even see Canelo get undisputed by the end of the year. Man, this is the year of, I think Mark said it, this is the year of undisputed. Because we are getting undisputed fight. You know, we're getting possibly two, maybe even more this year. Man, we could have four. Think of it like this, right? If Charlo fights Casano, then Canelo beats Saunders, unifies with Plant, AJ Fury, and Taylor Ramirez. That is essentially that's literally four undisputed fights. I could be playing, I could be overreaching a bit, but I'd love to see the winner of Chocolatito Estrada fight Kazuto Ioka sometime in like the autumn. Maybe that's pushing it a bit, but man, we are getting so much good stuff this year. Read that comment on screen. It says, wait, so Fury Wilder 3 isn't happening. Man, I'm telling you now, that fight is, as far as I'm concerned, that fight is dead in the water. I cannot for the life of me see that fight happen anytime soon. I don't think Deontay Wilder wants it. Seriously, I'm genuine. I don't think Wilder wants that fight. I think that that fight could have possibly took place last year or the start of this year, but I'm convinced Team Wilder wanted like that JD's guy. That JD's guy, man, you can't trust someone with a nose like that. That's what I will say. You can't trust someone with a nose like that. And that JD is, man, he is, man, that Wilder fight ain't happening. No way. Big up to George. Salute the G-Man. Might be late to the stream. So just dropping a comment in before. Man, drop a comment. It's all good. I'll get to these now. Taylor Ramirez and Fury Joshua announcement equals a good week. Not officially announced, but I think we're getting it. I think we're getting it soon. And I'm going to put my neck out on the line and say I'm 100% convinced that we're getting an announcement of this fight late next. Maybe not this week, but soon. I mean, very, very, very soon. We're going to get an announcement off this fight. I'm sure of it. A big up to Halim. Good evening, wee man Josh Taylor. Aye, Josh Taylor. And Billy Joe Something. Josh Taylor versus Ramirez is going to be amazing. Josh Taylor versus Ramirez, lads. That is man, there is so much good stuff. I think we need to enjoy 2021 and 2022 because I always try and stay upbeat about things. But just with the way the look at the way amateur gyms in the UK and places like that are kind of closing down. Look at grassroots boxing, how little support it's getting. That kind of has you worrying that in future, like say 5 years down the line, the quality won't be as good. That kind of has me worried for that. So part of me is thinking, oh Jesus, enjoy 2021 while we have it now, because just holy shit, the year of undisputed. Taylor Ramirez, who else? Castano versus Charlo. We're probably going to get that. AJ Fury. I'm saying it now. I'm 100% sure we're going to get that fight. I'm convinced that fight is coming. Jesus, who else? We could see Canelo fighting for undisputed. Man, that's just, think of it like this, right? We're only into March, and look at all the good fights we have. Even fights like Parker, Chisora, which they're talking about, that's a good fight. That's a good fight. We have, who's the other guy? Usyk versus Joyce. Oh, man, this is a far cry from last year, man. This is a far cry from last year. This is absolutely, man, enjoy this year. This year is going to be good. And we're only 3 months into the year. We've loads of time to get more fights in. Shout out to Ade. Could be a good 2021. It's going to be a bloody brilliant 2021, mate. Man, it is going to be a hell of a year. Just think of all these fights that are getting made. And they're all like Josh Taylor, Ramirez. That's going to be a hell of a fight, man. I cannot wait for that fight. Holy shit. Both guys come forward. Both guys are good in the pocket. Southpaw versus Orthodox. Both guys can get into a tear-up. Ah, man. This year. I seen someone actually left a funny comment there, and I hope he's joking. Am I alone in thinking 2021? Now, that's the fight we want in 2021. 2021 boxing needs Lovejoy versus Allen. Yeah. Good old one-shot himself, Christopher Lovejoy. I'm determined to see that guy fight. If I have one thing I want to see, I am determined to see him fight. Christopher Lovejoy. I really, 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 really want to see him fight. I want to see how bad he is. I'm telling you now, I want to see how bad he is, because God damn it, it's weird. I'm surprised more people don't follow his pattern, to be honest with you, because this is a guy 32 years old, turned pro with no amateur fights, no anything, and he gets talked about more by not just me, other YouTube channels as well, than prospects who are up and coming through the amateurs. Why? Because he's just a chancer. He got himself to 19-0. I doubt probably about 8 or 9 of them fights really took place, judging by his box rec. And yet, the minute he starts talking, we're making videos on him, we're doing this. It's just funny. Big up to Tony. What's good, G? Man, it's all good. It's all good, man. It is all good. Lee, yes, G, man. So Warren, in his latest IFL interview, Umar asked about Yard. Warren seemed very sketchy, telling you, G, man, he's on his way to Matchroom. Yeah, he said that the next fight isn't going to be the artist fight. It's going to be just a comeback fight in April. Still being trained by Tunde Ajayi, but I've heard loads of people say that that's not changing anytime soon. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Him to Matchroom, wouldn't be shocked. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, they would sell the shit out of Anthony Yard. They would literally, you'd want him and AJ on like an interview together or something like that, and you would literally have mini AJ and AJ, because Anthony Yard, even to his physique, is just so, it's just such a small, it's like a small AJ. They would sell the absolute crap out of Anthony Yard. They really would. Anthony Yard's a good fighter. Luke is working night shifts, so can't watch live, but going to catch up in the morning, have a good one. We always do. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going any more than about 1 hour and 10, because I have been feeling like Not like sick or anything like that, but so goddamn tired. I don't know what happened to me. But even to Joe, big up to Joe Stunner. How's life? Life is brilliant. Of course it is. Advance notice, Billy Joe win, Josh Taylor win. Right, Josh Taylor win, I'm with you on that. I can't. Will they give Billy Joe the decision? Will they give Billy Joe a decision? They might. But do you know what, right? I was looking at a few interviews with Billy Joe. I looked at his interview with Coogan on Sunday. I wonder, right, if Billy Joe loses this fight, are him and Eddie Hearn going to have a bit of a split? Because I always found when Eddie Hearn announced he was signing with Billy Joe in Matchroom, or with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, I was like, really? Like, yeah, it's not a bad move, but like, Billy Joe has had so many rants at Eddie Hearn. His dad even threatened to fight Eddie Hearn, if you remember that. And I'm like, now I'm promoted by this guy. How long is that relationship gonna last? I don't know. Like, I hope it. Look, I'd love it if Billy Joe could pull it off, because I actually quite like Billy Joe as a fighter, and I think he's funny. But Jesus, I wonder, will him and Eddie Hearn have a bit of a clash after this fight? Because I just could never understand how that would work. I mean, your dad even threatened Billy Joe, or your dad even threatened Eddie Hearn, and it's like, nope, it's all good. We're all pally now. Imagine John Fury with Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn can wind people up. Could you imagine John Fury if Eddie Hearn wound him up? John Fury kicking off. When's the announcement happening? By the end of the week, maybe. You see, I always find with the big fights, a lot of the times they wait until it's a show or something like that before announcing it. So I don't know, but it'd be interesting. I can't see that. That's way too late. They won't announce it after the Saunders fight. I think it'd be way sooner than that. Way, way, way sooner than that. Evening from the judge. Big up to the judge. Looks like the boxing gods are delivering. Yeah. And as someone said, we just need Lovejoy to fight Dave Allen. Then we're all G. Then 2021 is legit. Fury's team offered Wilder 3 dates for the 20. Yeah, man, like Wilder's team. Wilder doesn't want that fight. His team want it, but there's no way Wilder wants that. Wilder still recovering from the concussion. Well, Wilder got an autopsy, according to Marcellus Wilder. He's the only fighter in history to have had an autopsy, and he didn't even die. Right? Marcellus, do you remember that tweet? That boy, I swear to God, he's like 31 years old. He's 5 years or something older than me, but Jesus. Yo, big up to Jay. Let's go, G-Man's Rocks collection. Definitely not, bro. No Rocks collection. Most people don't know what that even means, but we'll leave it like that. Sticking my neck out and say Joshua will beat Fury. Man, I'm going back and forth on that, but I've said it once, I'll say it again. Right now, this minute in time, Fury to win. Fury to win. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm going with Fury to win. Gee, you watch Life Stories interview with Frankie Gavin. I didn't watch the full interview, but yeah, I watched some of it. Worth a watch, had some good stories. Frankie Gavin was always a fighter who irritated the hell out of me. Very, very, very talented fighter. Very, very talented, great amateur. But he irritated me because he could just never keep himself in shape. That was the thing about Frankie Gavin. I always felt that there was such a good fighter in there, and just getting out of shape. I know some people said he had a lot going on in his personal life, you know, throughout his career. Still, to see the talent he had, or him never to really achieve it, it was just, yeah, it was always a bit annoying. Big up to Kira. Anyone else excited to see Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia? Can't say I'm on the edge of my seat. Has anyone seen recent pics of Mikey Garcia? Someone only said it to me about a couple of weeks ago. Look at Mikey Garcia on Instagram. The lad's a cruiser. Like, I've never seen Mikey Garcia looking this badly out of shape. Seriously, I couldn't believe it when I seen. Like, he's not like, a big, massively chubby guy. But you see him, you just think, holy shit, you've put on some weight. Even to around his face. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, oh, this guy is he really just banking on one last payday? Him against Pacquiao. I mean, Garcia's stock took such a hit in that Spence loss, didn't it, though? You think about it, a lot of people were bigging Mikey Garcia up. Some people, I've seen a lot of people picking him. I always felt Spence would win that fight. He was too big. But I think it's the manner of which he lost. Like, it wasn't even competitive. So his stock's taking a hit. Pacquiao, the McGregor fight fell flat on its ass after, what was the guy's name? Dustin Poirier, was that it? I always get mixed up between him and the other guy. What was it? Dustin Cormier? I get mixed up between those two guys. I think it was Dustin Poirier knocked McGregor out. So that fight went tits up. And Mikey Garcia, God knows what's happening there. He said on the weekend that fight's gone. So it's looking like we're getting Pacquiao versus Garcia. I'm not, look, at the end of the day, not on the edge of my seat for that. It's not a great fight, but we'll see. The Pac-Man won last time. And at least he's not like McGregor. Come on, I didn't want to. That no, please, good, no, Jesus, no. Only ranked heavyweight to retire undefeated with 19 fights. But somewhere, is he retired? Has he actually retired? Has Lovejoy like decided to call it a day? Because apparently he was calling for Eddie Hearn to give him some dates. But yeah, good old Christopher one-shot himself, Lovejoy. Swedish heavyweight contender. Mark my words, Wallen going to the top, guaranteed. He's undisputed in 3 years. I wouldn't put money on it, mate, to be honest with you. Wallen is going to be a tricky night for most heavyweights. He's going to be a tricky night for most heavyweights. I'm looking forward to seeing how Tony Yoka looks this weekend, because he's fighting on Friday night. I'm looking forward to. I'm keeping my eye closely on Tony Yoka. I think there's a good fighter. There's a very good, dangerous fighter in there. I see a lot of people saying that they want to see him fight a pressure fighter because he was always a bit susceptible to pressure in the amateurs. Tony Yoka is an interesting shout. Tony Yoka is an interesting shout. So he's fighting this weekend. As for Wallen, look, Wallen is definitely game. You know, he's definitely a contender. That's fair to say, but he's going to be a tricky opponent for people. But that's really it. I'd be very surprised if he wins a world title. Very surprised. If he's could, lads, smash the like button. If he's could. Lovejoy or Floyd Mayweather. I mean, you got to give all one shot the benefit of hindsight. He's the naturally bigger guy, hasn't he? Isn't he? Good old Christopher Lovejoy. Can we get through a stream without mentioning one shot himself? G-Man, do you think 155 is the best catch weight for? Is the best catch weight? Well, 154 is not. That's their weight class, mate. Unless you mean like 155 or something, because they'd be making that weight anyway. Dream fight. Ukrainian that fought GGG versus John Ryder. Wouldn't you like that fight? Derevchenko. Jesus, him against Ryder. Matt Ryder's a hell of a fight. Matt Ryder has improved so much over the last few years. It's crazy. Oh, shout out to Blue Collar Sports TV. Big up to Del. What's up, Del? How are you, my man? And yeah, no blueprint to beat Lovejoy. The GOAT. The GOAT. You see, that's what would make, as someone said earlier in the chat, that would make 2021 complete, right? Christopher Lovejoy, we get to see him fight in the flesh against good old Dave Allen. Dave Allen makes his return, his long-awaited return to the ring. You know, promoted by Don King, bit like Lucius Sweet in The Simpsons, you know, making young pugilists who cannot be knocked down. Anyone ever watched that Simpsons episode? That's what it would be like. That's literally what it would be like. One of those bum fights they had in The Simpsons. Allen versus Lovejoy. Two fat guys swinging it out. And there's a lot of fun to be had in that. You know, you ever see two fat guys, you ever like on a night out, you see two piss fat lads going at it. It's funny. That's literally what Lovejoy versus Allen would be. Just whoever runs out of gas first. Seriously, Lucas Browne would take that fight. Even now. Christopher Lovejoy is garbage, mate. Like, the few little snips of training I've seen from him, he is garbage. Could you imagine, Del, me, you, and Mark doing commentary for that fight? And just the absolute stink we'd be giving the two of them guys. Even to the winner. Could you if Dave Allen lost, imagine he just got knocked out by Christopher Lovejoy, just turns around, throws an overhand right, and just knocks Dave Allen out. Could you imagine the laughter that would be going on that commentary? It would be funny as fuck. That's one of my goals. I want to see Lovejoy fight live. Like, even if it's live on TV, I just want to see him. And I'll just cover that fight. Unless Don King decides to copyright me, like he did you guys, because I don't know if he's still with Don King, but man, I just want to see, I want to see this guy fight live. it's just funny as fuck. That would be sick. Yeah, who is Lucas Browne facing? Because Lucas Browne is always having fights that are announced or something like that, and they talk about it, and then they end up just falling flat on their ass. So I seen that they announced he was fighting someone, but I've never heard of the guy. Truth be told, he tends to fight a lot in Australia. Shit, he tends to fight a lot in Australia. But yeah, that's that. What does that say? Gee, you heard Niall Kennedy fighting the end of March? Oh, fantastic. No, I didn't hear about that, but fair play to him. Fair play to Niall Kennedy. He is an absolute twat, that lad. But fair play if he's got a fight. I mean, I hope he trains this time. But yeah, fair play to him. If you had to guess, when do you think the fight will be announced? Meh. When do I think the fight will be announced? They're probably going to build to it. So probably in the next week or so. Not this week, I don't think. Not this week, I don't think. They're probably going to build to it. I don't know if a fight of that magnitude, they're just going to turn around and be like, oh, there it is, lads. There it is. They're probably going to wait for it. They're probably just going to turn around, let something build, or just tease an announcement and then boom. They're not just going to just turn around and be like, just out of the blue, you wake up in the morning and be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's the fight announced. You know, certain fights can do that, but a fight like this, no way. Nah, they're gonna make sure they announce this. Yeah, some other Aussie heavyweight. Yeah, that's literally what Lucas Browne. Lucas Browne is a nice guy, all I can say. Lucas Browne seems all right, but he's just a bit all over the place. Like, I remember when he fought Shigaev and he popped in that fight, I was convinced he was set up. At the time, I was absolutely convinced he was set up against Shigaev because I'd heard about funny stuff happening in Chechnya before. I remember Fast Frez saying that he was threatening the lifts over there when he fought Shigaev back in 2014. But it's funny because I believed him when he said he was spiked that time. And then he pops dirty a few months later. And then we see him literally 2 years, almost to the date. He fights Dylan White and he looked a shell of himself. And that to me kind of had me thinking, hang on a sec, maybe there was something to it. You know, I don't know, maybe there was, because I just couldn't understand how in 2 years, and yeah, he was inactive, but in 2 years he could go from, you know, he wasn't winning the Shigaev fight, but he was doing well, to going from that to getting absolutely battered by Dylan. I just couldn't understand it. And yeah, he was meant to fight Shannon Briggs, remember, in 2016 as well. That would have been a fun fight. I mean, Shannon Briggs, there's a fucking, that's what you call it. There's someone who was on something. Shannon Briggs. If ever you needed any help for that, oh man. The battle of the boobs, yeah. Allen versus Browne. I'd still give Dave Allen that fight. Or not Dave Allen, I'd still give Lucas Browne that fight. I'd still give him that fight. Or an actual bot. That Jake Paul. The problem is, right, is that you get like journalists who keep feeding that. So apparently he called out Canelo after his fight. The best way to shut down an attention seeker or troll is to just give them nothing, you know, literally. Because the amount of people I've seen, right, who are like, they openly admit they're trolls. They go around trolling people, you know, they go around trolling boxers, this, that, and the other. The amount of them, you go on their Twitter pages, right, and they're just so happy, like, yeah, this guy blocked me, that guy blocked. The best thing you can do is just ignore them, because that's how sad some of these people are, that they take pleasure in being blocked and saying it. The best thing with guys like that, like, I'm not saying Jake Paul, but when they're just trying to, you know, fish for like attention, just don't give it to them. You know, it's a bit like that when Eubank Jr. says silly things. Like, remember the weekend, he said that if Canelo's so good, he should have got rid of Yildirim in a round because it took me 3 rounds. You just don't feed that. I didn't touch on that, didn't do a video on it. You just don't leave all that to one side. That's just silly. I just say, look, just leave that to one side, because there's no point. There's no point, you know, feeding any of that. Literally, it's just silliness. Looking forward to Fury versus Paul. I seen, was it Tyson Fury who shared it? And some people said it was fake, but they were saying that Tommy Fury, when he fought that 0-9 guy, his viewers on BT were higher than the UK viewers for DAZN. Now, obviously, time difference played a big factor in it. But if that's true, they said they topped at something like 1 million or 2 million views or something like that, peak on BT Sport. If that's true, why the hell are they not putting this guy out more? Because he's been pro now for 2 years and he's had 5 fights. This guy, like, I've not really seen anything in Tommy Fury that makes me think he's gonna, do much, really, with the greatest respect. But the guy has serious pulling power. I mean, like Frank Warren, whoever's promoting this guy, they need to have him like on under. If they put it like this, right? If you got him in a semi-competitive fight and put him, and say Frank Warren puts on Usyk versus Joyce, you get a semi-decent opponent, semi-competitive fight that Tommy Fury would win, but it's an opponent that's not like 0-9, and you put him on the undercard, maybe like a feature just before the co-feature or something like that. That is going to boost those pay-per-view numbers. They will be tuning in to watch Tommy Fury, because that guy, if those figures that Tyson Fury posted are true, damn, that boy has some serious pulling power. He might not go on to do anything, but he will fill arenas once fans are let back in. Like Button Smash, a lot of 155 fighters you mentioned been quiet lately. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from Hurt. Haven't heard anything from a good few of them. Erickson Lubin fought back in September. Haven't heard anything from what's the guy's name? J-Rock. Haven't heard anything from J-Rock. Haven't heard anything from a few guys at 154, to be fair. I don't know what's going on with that division. G-Man, who's the best offensive fighter you've seen in recent years? For me, Pac-Man and Chocolatito come to mind. Those two are fantastic for offensive. In recent years, probably in this era, you would have to say Chocolatito, possibly Inoue. Because if you look at Inoue, when he really is on it, he is throwing so many shots. Like, he's throwing so many power shots, like head to body, the way he switches it up. Inoue is very good offensively. So is Casemiro. Jean-Real Casemiro, he is very good offensively. I think the problem with Casemiro is that he lacks a bit of it. Well, he does lack defense, So I reckon that him against Inoue, it'd be fun. It'd be a good fight, but I can see that really ending in tears, ending pretty quickly for Casemiro. Because lest we forget, we were meant to get that fight last year. We were meant to get that fight in April last year, right? But obviously, what happened, and they never. That was one fight that died. It was never rescheduled. I thought they would, but they never rescheduled it. G-Man, how do you think a fight between Clarissa Shields or Katie Taylor would do against UFC fighter Amanda Nunes? Of course, I favor Nunes in UFC, but in boxing, bare knuckle. Right. Look, I'll be honest. I'm a bit of a casual when it comes to MMA. I've seen Amanda Nunes fight. She's very good. But I seen her knock Ronda Rousey out in a round, but Ronda Rousey can't box. Like, literally. Does anyone remember the video of Ronda Rousey doing the shadow boxing, where she was running in a straight line and just throwing the punches? It was funny as hell. I think even McGregor was laughing at it. But her against Taylor, I don't even know what division she fights in. I know Taylor is 150 or 135 and Shields is 160, I think. Because I kind of know a bit about Katie Taylor, but Clarissa Shields, I don't know anything. I've never seen her fight. I've never seen Clarissa Shields fight, so I can't say. I don't even know what division she's in. Literally don't know what division she's in. G-Man, who do you got? Ramirez, Taylor? I think Taylor does everything a little bit better than Ramirez. Yeah, that's pretty much my consensus as well. It's going to be a good fight because the styles are going to gel perfectly, right? They are going to gel absolutely perfectly. But I think Taylor's more rounded. He's just got more in his arsenal. I think he's going to come out on top. Best believe, right, is not going to be easy for either man. Like, I'm not going to turn around and say Josh Taylor is going to walk away, no problems asked. He'll stop Jose Ramirez. It's going to be a competitive fight all the way through. That's for damn sure. If there's one thing I'm sure about, it's competitive, right? Very, very competitive. So, but I just can't wait, man. I mean, what? We are getting so much good stuff, man. It's great. G-Man, ever annoy you, people like Bellew or Allen get far more attention than the likes of Ricky Burns, despite him achieving more. Yeah, well, like it's like that in all aspects of life, though. If you think about it, sometimes it's not the most talented or the people who've achieved the most. It's the people who are loudest. Like I've said this, I've talked about this so many times on the channel that like I've seen people literally have nothing going for them, other than the fact they're a bit louder than some other people. So therefore, it's like, as I've said several times, it's like the magician doing a magic trick. He's getting you to look the other way from the way the trick's actually going. So if he's got something in one hand and he's trying to hide that and he's doing the trick the other way, you're looking at that, he can just chuck that other thing away. You know no better because you're looking the other way. Where someone like me be looking all around and be like, well, hang on a minute, you just threw that away. So it's kind of like that. But yeah, like Bellew, Allen has that cult following. He's not really loud, but he has that cult following. And I think people still read too much into that cult following. I don't think it's as strong as it was a couple of years ago. I think a lot of people, because when Dave Allen, like 2016, 2017, I quite liked them. I actually used to root for him back then because I used to think like this is a proper a blue collar guy who's trying to fight his way up. I actually quite liked Dave Allen back then. So for me, it was like, this is a good guy. I can relate to this guy a bit. And then, you start seeing patterns go on, and then you start thinking, no. And then it's like, I've got no opportunities, but I'm on a pay-per-view card. I'm just out of shape. And it's just like, come on now. That's no. So that's kind of my story with him. Yeah, I did actually see that Lovejoy ended up declaring himself bankrupt. I mean, well, that's what Don King does. And that's what people in the chat are saying, the Don King effect. That's what Don King does. I was trying to get some material together to do a WTF video on Don King because I haven't done one yet. And I'm still working on the Don King one. But I'm doing one this weekend. It's not on Don King because I'm still kind of trying to get... Because Don King, it's a bit trickier because there's so much you're trying to get together with Don King that you're trying to put it into one kind of documentary / expose. That it's been tricky because between doing this. So I have another fight. I'm just doing a fighter this weekend. So Monday morning, as usual, you'll get your WTF video. And I think you'll like this one. It's a fighter I know a good bit about, but he's retired. He's retired. He's not active. So you got one of them to look forward to coming up. I usually record them on a Saturday and sometimes on a Sunday. And then we upload it. So just a little update on some videos. Yeah, he retired. He's the greatest of all time. 19-0 and 19 knockouts. People have accused Lovejoy of fighting ringers. But I think there's a good chance his whole career is hoaxed. There is a small bit of footage on his Instagram, Joe. There's a small bit of footage of it. But like that, he looks pretty terrible. But you go and look at the weights. Look at Michael Smith. I think there's one guy who fought Andy Ruiz in his pro debut. Because I was looking at his box rec a few weeks ago. So maybe there's some names there that are legit because they fought other guys. But in terms of him, I mean, Jesus. White Povetkin is a good time to announce it. That's what I reckon. I reckon that's when we'll get it. I reckon had that fight been this weekend, we would have got the announcement. But if you think about it, if we get this fight in July, end of March, we still have plenty of time. Like that's still, for me, that's plenty of time. That's plenty of time to get the fight announced. They don't have to do it this week. I reckon they'll wait for something like that. That's just what I'm thinking. So I don't think they're going to just come out and be like, all right, just randomly, oh yeah, here we go, here's the fight. No, they're going to do it the proper way, I reckon. They're going to do it at probably the White Povetkin show. G-Man and the whole chat, big up to Nick every time. Man, big up to Nick. I'm going to have to join the playback gang. Smash the like button on the way in. Man, I don't mind if you listen to it now or you listen to it on playback. Either way, I'm all G. I'm all good. Hope you enjoy it, man. Big up to Nick every single time, man. And is it what the F happened to Prince Patel? No, it's not Prince Patel. It's not Prince Patel. I'll give you as a hint, right? It's a former heavyweight, right? It's a former heavyweight. Now, I know a lot about this guy's career, but I said I was actually planning on doing this ages ago. I was going to do him in January until Kovalev had all his issues. So, former heavyweight. I'll give you a hint on that. Former heavyweight. He's retired. He's been retired now a little while. He's been retired a while. All right. But you love, yeah, I like doing them. They're fun. They're fun to make. They're fun to make. They just take a lot of time to record. They take a lot of time to edit. They take a lot of time to do the research because, like, you're talking about, it's different from a career review. You're reviewing the career, but you're kind of doing it in a different. I do it in a different format. So, like, I do it in kind of, I kind of have a bit of banter and throw little snippets in there, this, that, and the other. Because I did career reviews before, and I thought they were a bit boring. Because you're just talking about, you're just kind of just talking about, but you're not really. Whereas they kind of, I prefer them. Drop that thing again, but fuck it. But yeah, I prefer doing them like that. Would have never happened. But Eddie would love having Tommy. Oh man, Eddie Hearn he'd promote the shit out of Tommy Fury. He will put him and Shannon Courtney on every card. Oh, good God. Surprised Shannon. Actually, yes, it's true that I'm actually amazed she hasn't. Good Lord. Could you imagine that? Oh, man. Shannon Courtney. I really hope Rachel Ball wins that fight. I really hope Rachel Ball wins that fight. I really do. That Shannon Courtney one, I mean, I don't know what it is. She's just, I don't know. Jim, I reckon the Guillermo Rigondeaux vid would be phenomenal. He just faded into a screen. Yeah, like, I used to love Rigo. I used to love watching him. Now, even though he wasn't the most entertaining, from a skill set. See, I like skilled fighters as well. But yeah, he really did just fade a bit. After the Lomachenko fight, he just kind of, I never see him at bantamweight. He struggles in those fights. It's weird. Crazy D3, Yoka fighting on Premier Sports on Friday. Yeah, I know. He's not fighting anyone particularly good. It has to be said. He's not fighting anybody particularly good. But yeah, I know that. Yoka is fighting now. I know that Yoka's fighting. I'm actually looking. I always like watching Yoka fight because I'm always interested. I'm always keen on how Yoka looks. Keen on seeing how he gets on. Him and his wife, they're fighting on the same card. That I only just happened to click on Tony Yoka's box rec, like, I think Monday, and they had that fight announced, and I was like, holy shit, that went under the radar. But obviously it's against the Fair No Hope. He was meant to fight that Croatian guy, that Peter Malice guy, so they might be still looking to get that fight over the line. But yeah, Yoka, I'm always interested to watch Tony Yoka. I always find him an interesting show. On what basis is Shannon Courtney having a world title? She's done absolutely nothing. Yeah, she's done absolutely nothing. I know. She lost, had a comeback fight, and now is getting a rematch for a world title. I mean, I don't know. That's just, yeah. I like doing career reviews for active fighters. So the story so far, they're fun to record. Yeah, like I tried the career reviews last year and I enjoyed them, but I like doing them that WTF way where you have a bit of banter and you talk a bit about this, that, and I just chuck the little videos in on the side. They're kind of fun. So I seen someone ask, was it Oddly? It's not Oddly. It's not Oddly Harrison, but that's actually a good shout. That actually is a good shout. Actually, I might end up having to look at Oddly Harrison. I mean, like, that is a tragic story. You think about it. An Olympic gold medalist to do sweet FA. And that's the thing I learned, right? And that's actually something I learned about, doing videos on these kind of things. People love downfalls. Like, if I done, like, say, a WTF video, but I called it, like, the rise of, this fighter from, rags to riches, probably wouldn't do as good views as a downfall story. In fact, I'm sure it wouldn't. The amount of times I've seen fighters, or like, not just fighters, YouTubers who do like documentaries on, this guy who cocked up and this guy who went downhill, they do so much better numbers than like doing videos on someone who, we started at the bottom and now he's at the top. I remember I was watching a guy who he made his own documentary on Elon Musk. And I'd done a good few thousand views. But then he'd done a documentary on, I forget the YouTuber's name, but he'd done a documentary on, I forget the YouTuber's name, but basically this YouTuber was an alcoholic. He fucked everything up and it done something like, you know, a couple of 100,000 views. I'm just like, what the hell? Like, people love a downfall story. People just love it. Anything to do with down, like if it's uplifting, it's just like, meh, yeah, he done well for himself. But it's like, yeah, this guy had it and he lost it. Oh fuck, I'll watch that. Yeah, give me that. I want to know how this guy fucked up. I don't know what it is. It's the weirdest thing. People do, yeah. People love car crash TV. Like, there's a YouTuber I watch from Australia, nothing to do with boxing, called Sunny V2. And if you look at his videos, he does like YouTubers who've lost it all and YouTubers who've grown. And the YouTubers who've grown do, by his standards, because he's got a massive channel, crap views. Like, some of them don't even scrape like 50,000 views. Then he does downfall stories. And oh my God, some of them are topping in the millions because people just love a downfall. People love a good downfall. I think I know the documentary you were talking about was about a streamer who always got smashed and done. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. It's one of that guy Sunny V2 did it, and I remember just watching it, and he was just on about like alcoholic and this, that, and the other. And I was watching, I was like, how is this guy still alive? Because the guy would stream for money. So he'd do a live stream like me or you would. And if he'd have like a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever it was, and literally he'd be like, right, you want me to drink this? Donate. So people would be donating like £5 super chats for like 2 shots. And he's sitting there drinking all night on. That's how he made a living, just drinking on stream, sitting there looking at his PC, like answering questions and drinking shots of Jägermeister. I'm so how that guy is still alive is beyond me. How he's still alive is beyond me. I can't remember the guy's name. And I'm not going to go onto your man's channel. I'm subscribed to him, but I'm not going to go onto his channel to check it. I can't remember the guy's name though. It was a good documentary, but it was a fucked up video. Like, the guy, like, I think the guy done a live stream where he pretty much, or basically, never convicted, but apparently, like, I think he said to a girl, have you ever been, you know, begins with an R, we know what I mean. And he's like, you should be. I'm like, man, this guy's a freak. How that guy is still alive is beyond me. Downfall videos do better because yeah, I think that's why. I think when people see someone who's gone from like rags to riches, they're just like, oh, that's not me. So, but they see it like a drama story. They're just like, oh, I can relate to that. Yeah, it's recent heavyweight. No, it's not recently retired. Lovejoy. What could I do about, like, I couldn't even do a WTF video on Lovejoy. Well, he allegedly fought this guy. He allegedly fought that guy. He's allegedly not related to this guy. He may bring Jeremy Kyle in to get DNA tests on some of these fighters. Seriously. The ultimate WTF video would be Johnny Tapia. Johnny Tapia would be good, actually. And Matthew Said Muhammad would be good ones. Johnny Tapia would be a good one now. Johnny Tapia. See, I have a lot. There's so many fighters like that. And I just, like, I mean, my brain just be racked thinking, like, looking at some fighters and just thinking, I could do one on you. I could do one on you. Someone asked me to do a WTF video on Lennox Lewis. And I was like, no. Lennox Lewis had a great career. What would I do with I do a career review on Lennox Lewis, definitely. But like, they're meant to be kind of like as a funny little kind of thing, you know, about how this guy went from here to here. It's like, no, like, Lennox Lewis had a great career. Why would I'd be doing a career review, but not a WTF video on him? I'm planning one. Edwin Valero. Oh man, yes, Edwin Valero would be cracking. Jesus Christ. His first 18 fights, he won them all by knockout. Holy shit, man. Valero was a monster. Valero's a monster. Just a shame what happened to him. And same with Ike Ibushi. To think, Ike Ibushi was meant to fight Andy Ruiz in 2016. I don't remember that when he got out of prison. He signed back with Top Rank. They were going to put him in with Andy Ruiz. And then I think he ended up violating his probation or something like that. You could do WTF videos on like someone like Riddick Bowe. I'm not doing one on Riddick Bowe, by the way, this weekend. But you can do someone on like Riddick Bowe. The ultimate WTF video that I'm working towards, and I'll just say it now, Tommy Morrison. I'm not working, it's not going to be him the weekend, but I'm looking to do one on him in the future, because that could go on for ages, that one. Tommy Morrison, Jesus Christ, he has a story to tell. Yeah, get the two of them on Jeremy Kyle, have a chat. That'd be gas. Imagine Don King. Does Don King even know what that is? Considering he strikes every YouTuber he can get because what? He thinks we're making money off them. Oh, that's the guy. That was the guy who we done the documentary on. Yes, you're right. That was the guy. Only use a blade. That was the guy who we done it. Because I remember I subbed to him because I was watching just a couple of his documentaries that he made. Like the guy Sunny V2. And this one had like crazy views. And I just clicked on it and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this guy is fucked up. Like the guy is like crazy. And like, it's weird, right? As much as I love a good night out, the things these guys were doing, like they were doing like, I think it's called IRL streaming, which is like in real life where they're literally streaming their whole day. And because they're streaming their whole day and they're trying to keep viewers on, they can't just do what me and you do, which is, just live life normally. They have to do everything like, extreme. So like they go into like a coffee shop and they be like slapping waitresses on the ass, telling people they love them because they just want to get more views, to get more donations, because that's how they do it. And it looked like an absolute horrible way to be. I was like, how the fuck could it? And literally they were just walking with a phone everywhere. I remember I was watching another one of his videos. It wasn't the same guy, but he was doing a video on a guy who kept getting swatted. And for those who don't know what swatting is, it's like when you're streaming live, everyone can see your location. Well, if you tell them, they can see your location. And this one guy has got like a couple of 100,000 people on stream. He said he was in an airport, say like airport in Milwaukee. I wasn't in Milwaukee, but just say Milwaukee airport, flight number A, seat number B, this, that, and the other. So of course people started ringing in bomb scares. And of course naming him, saying this is the guy with the bomb. And boom, he ended up getting pinched. Obviously he didn't have anything, but that's what happens. It's crazy the kind of stuff that goes on. What was I reading there? Yeah, back to boxing. Ruiz beat AJ, but then goes on to do nothing major. Could he be the Mexican Buster Douglas? Because there's no guarantee he'll have success again. No, like Ruiz is a decent fighter, and I think he'll have success again, definitely. But it's just the discipline. Like Ruiz, if you look at Andy Ruiz, right, there's a good heavyweight there. There's a good fighter there. But it's the lack of discipline. A bit like Buster Douglas. But Buster Douglas had questionable heart. I don't think Ruiz's heart is necessarily in question, to be honest with you, because he's never quit. You could say against Joshua, he wasn't really there to fight. And yeah, like he wanted Joshua to come at him. And then when he moved, he didn't do anything. But Ruiz definitely has more heart than a Buster Douglas. He's a better chin. There's a good fighter there. He just needs someone to bring it out in him. Is Eddie Reynoso that guy? I hope so, because I think Ruiz is a good addition to the heavyweight division. But given Ruiz's track history, it's fair for me to be like, question it basically. And looking at, like, as I said in my video I done about him the other day, when he's showing pictures of himself, posing, looking to show weight loss, for the last 5 years, Ruiz has been saying, this is the new Ruiz. I'm slimmer, I'm leaner, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, this, that. I've seen enough. When someone keeps saying that and they've not changed, you got to take that with a pinch of salt. So when he's saying he's lost all this weight, I'm like, I won't believe it until I see you on the scale weighing in XYZ, because you've said it so many times over the years, and every time you've come in out of shape, right? You've stood in different angles. I think some people have said, I cannot, does anyone remember? Because I cannot find that picture anywhere. But the picture of him stretching before the Parker fight, where he clearly had some kind of gut thing on, holding the stomach in, because he was really lean. He looked really lean. And obviously he gets on the scales and he looks the same as always. So with Andy Ruiz, until I see him actually on the scale, in the 240s, 230s, then I'm not going to believe him. He could show me, he could be standing there, bloody fucking Joe Six-Pack in a picture. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I've seen you mess with photos enough times that until I see you in the ring looking like that, I won't believe anything you say. So that's literally what I do. Yeah, as Dale says there, the old fat girl trick. Andy Ruiz is on that fat girl angles. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. You always see that, like, you ever like see go on Tinder and like that, you see like they literally like it's kind of like them with a half selfie. and you're just like, why are you taking a half selfie? And you're like, oh, that's why. Fair enough. Well, I won't be clicking left. I'll be clicking the other way. Thanks very much. Andy Ruiz is insecure. Yeah, that's what I think it is as well. I think a lot of it is insecurity. But like, what the hell is that? What good is that going to do? Like, you know, I mean, just for me personally, I don't understand that. What is it for me? What is it for you to take a picture in like an angle where you're looking thinner? Because you know yourself that's not really you. So why are you doing it? Because it's almost like you're trying to tell yourself that you're this, you're that. And maybe that can help, but you're better off just facing it head on and, you know, just going for literally. That is literally what it is. You may as well just face it head on rather than just posing in different angles and shit like that. You may as well just be like, right, here's where I am. Here's what I need to be. End off. The YouTuber, how do you say it? The Morgul Flat Earther ended up living in his car trying to get super chats for crack. Fuck, man. He was asking his subs for money and his wife was banging on the car door screaming. Holy shit, man. Some of these guys, man, I swear. You just watch it and you're just thinking, how did, like, I suppose because a lot of these guys probably used to you ever see like real old YouTubers, like people who started in like 2008, 2009, back when there wasn't that monetization, there wasn't anything. So they had no incentive to do videos. And then all of a sudden they're getting paid thousands and thousands. I mean, it goes to people's heads for some people. You know, I've seen that myself, like with people who've literally been, you know, cool guys, you know, nice and humble. They get a job and, you know, they're making decent money. And then they're just like, oh, you're only using an iPhone 8. Just, I'd throw that in the bin if I were you. I only use this. It's like, it does the job. Like, if I can pretty much runs a YouTube channel, so I'll stick with it. Thanks. Andy Ruiz robbed Canelo's kitchen while he was in Miami. Jesus, man. Imagine Andy Ruiz on Canelo's diet. Just eating nothing but chicken, see what he'd do. I tell you now, right? If Andy Ruiz went to Eddie Reynoso's camp, he was eating what Canelo eats. He was training, you know, similar to Canelo. I'd say he didn't shit for a full month. Seriously. I'd say that guy didn't shit for a full month. If he's really true about all this, then I'd say there was some serious constipation going on in there. So we have Matchroom, the Zone, but Triller look like they do, don't they? They really do. They look like they're literally the man. They're coming in, you know, buying up all these, you know, and hey, look, I'll take that. I'll take that. If they're paying these fighters big purses and they're putting on good fights, I'll take that, man. You know, I ain't got no problem with Triller, you know. It's just the problem is they put those YouTube fights on as well, which I don't want to see. I'm done with them. I'm sick of them. Don't want to see him anymore. I didn't want to see him to begin with, but I kind of thought, you know what, maybe for a few casuals, just give him a little something to watch on the undercard. But now it's just getting silly. You know, you have that fool Jake Paul trying to call Canelo out. Seriously, man. Big Bang Zilly Zang versus Dylan White in a 3-rounder. Oh, man. I watched that fight back twice. That was entertaining. I really couldn't believe how entertaining that fight was. I mean, Zilly Zang hitting Jerry Forrest with his best punches. He kept getting back up. He kept putting it. He ended up in hospital. I was listening to the Boxing Squares video on that. He's still in hospital, Zilly Zang. So obviously his condition must have been atrocious. Because, like, the first 3 rounds, he wasn't fighting at a monstrously high pace. Like, it's not like he was fighting, he was throwing like punches, you know, like Joe Frazier kind of pace. It wasn't anything like that. He was, you know, there was a decent pace, but he just seemed to have nothing left after 3 rounds. Like, literally, that was it. He was gone. With Ruiz in camp, Canelo could make 154 again. Yeah, who ate all the pies? Andy Ruiz did. Zilly Zang versus Pricey. Man, that's a fight I want to see. Now, that's a shout. 2 guys with questionable stamina, both can punch. Don't know how good Zilly Zang's chin is, to be fair, because has he been in there with anyone who hits like Pricey? I don't think so. Jerry Forrest is not really a big puncher. That'd be a fun fight, though. That'd be one of those tragic. Like, David Price is a nice guy. He's a cool guy. But whenever I see him fight, I'm always just like, oh, for God's sake, what is going to happen? Like, even against Kamil Sakalowski, I was looking at that fight and I was thinking, here, he is getting very close to you, mate. He is getting, extremely close to you, man. You're going to want to be careful. Man, pricey. First YouTube video was 19-second clip of a bloke at the zoo posted April 2005. Wonder what was the first ever boxing match uploaded. I remember back in like the mid 2000s, like 2008 and all that, you could literally get anything on YouTube. Like you could watch whole pay-per-view, not live, but like they'd put the whole pay-per-view cards on YouTube. Today, you go on BitChute, you go on Daily Motion. Daily Motion is good, but it's terrible at the same time because it plays so many ads. And I know, as I watch it on a smart TV, sometimes what it does is it plays the ad and it brings you right back to the start. And then you have to try and fast forward. Daily Motion's always been buggy as hell. So mad Lovejoy's been frozen out of the division. Yeah, man. They don't want that one shot. They're worried about old Lovejoy. Latte, I don't know. I think maybe that Dubois fight was a bit of a false flag. You know, I think that Dubois fight was a bit of a false flag. Because since then I really did think against Wadley he'd do better. I actually think I picked him to beat Nathan Gorman. But it really was a false flag. It really was a false flag against Dubois. He came for it, don't get me wrong, but after that, it was just, yeah. I'm a simple man. I see David Price fight and I want to watch. Yeah. Yeah. I see Pricey fight and I'm just thinking like, yep, I'll watch it. Don't care. I'll watch it. Yo, big up to Johnny Boy. Johnny Boy's got a great channel as well, by the way. Big up to Johnny Boy's Boxing Empire. Salute to G-Man and Dell. Man, big up to Johnny. Florian Mark Goofers. Oh, man. Good old Lovejoy. You gotta love him. Yeah, I love him. He gives us boxing fans so much entertainment that we've never even seen him fight. We've never even seen him fight live, but yet we're getting a lot of entertainment. With a bit of self-belief, Price would have a good chance against Zilly Zang. Could be fun while it lasts. But that fight's ending in that fight's... Could you imagine that fight, right? If neither guy can get rid of one another and we're about 5 rounds into it. Literally, it's a case of who can just... Literally, both guys would pass out at that stage. Both guys would not be able to carry themselves any further. That would be funny as hell. That's the one thing about Triller. They would do something like that. They put a good fight. Well, it's an alright fight. It's an alright fight. Kambosos. We all know Teofimo Lopez is going to win, but Kambosos is alright. Like, I've seen him a few times, even before he fought Selby. That's why I was so confident he'd beat Selby. I've seen him a few times and he looked alright. He didn't look at it amazing, but I thought he's better than Lee Selby. Definitely. So he should beat Lee Selby. But yeah, putting that on the undercard, I mean, Jesus. That Jake Paul guy, you know, you just want to see him just get beaten just so we can fuck off. Seriously, he's just annoying now at this stage. Zang versus Julius Long. Yeah, that's actually not bad, man. That Julius Long fight was the funnest thing that happened on that whole Parker card. That was actually such a fun little scrap. You know, that little guy was he just kept coming and Julius Long just kept leaving. This is fun. What do you think would make Dave Allen? What do you make of Dave Allen being a manager? The guy is, he's a gambler, and yeah, I don't know. Look, we'll see what Allen does. He's not bad when it comes to, you know, selling fights and stuff like that. But, you know, giving his breakdown of fights. But we'll need to see. I don't know. The jury's still out on me. But yeah, a gambling addict at one stage. We'll need to see how Allen looks. We'll need to see how his fighters look, because I want to see how he matches them, to be honest with you. But we'll need to see. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he'll be a better manager than he was a fighter. I'll give him the benefit of that doubt. What's up with the new names like The Zone, Triller? Yeah. That Saunders Canelo shit makes me sick to my stomach. I'm telling you now, I'm giving Billy Joe a better chance than most. You know, you can call me crazy, lads, but I'm giving Billy Joe a better chance than most. Exhaustion would be a factor for real. Yeah, literally. I don't know. It's not a case of who lands first. It's a case of who lands first and who can get up off their seat quickest. Because seriously, both guys are slow. They've no stamina. It's literally a case of after 5 rounds, they're throwing enough punches. It's a case of you get up first, now you get up. After about 5 rounds, it'd be like that scene of Family Guy, where Herbert is fighting the German guy and the two guys can barely move. That's literally what it would be like in super slow motion. That's what it would be like after about 5 rounds between those two guys. Tony Fury is going to end up taking Team America and smashing up Jake Paul. I just, yeah, like he called him out and then Jake Paul was on about Canelo. I don't know. I mean, it's just, as I said, like earlier on the stream, probably the best way to stop all this, just don't pay attention to it. Like when you see like Mike Coppinger, Michael Benson start tweeting about it, you're just like, come on, man, stop fucking tweeting about it, because you're just feeding them. Just leave them out. Like let them fucking have their little, let Jake Paul put his little tweets up and say this, that, and the other, but just ignore it. It's like that for a few people. So that's why I didn't talk about Eubank when he was saying Canelo should have got rid of Yildirim around if he's so good. It's just like, mate, come on, don't pay attention. Lovejoy versus Long. Julius Long would win that fight. Seriously, Bermain Stavern would have knocked Christopher Lovejoy out based on what I saw against Trevor Bryan. Stavern would have knocked Lovejoy spark out. I'm being serious, man. Lads, just gone over an hour there. I'm going to call it here. I'm absolutely fucking knackered. Honestly, mate, I'm fucked. I'm absolutely jaded. I only wanted to do a little over an hour tonight, so I might do one maybe Saturday, maybe, because there's no fights on Saturday. So I might do one after Saturday, but for now, we'll definitely do one Sunday. But for now, lads, I'm going to call it here. I'm just shattered, man. I'm absolutely fucking shattered. Yeah, Long did score a knockdown. That was funny. Man, that fight, Julius Long in his prime, he lost to Audley Harrison, in 2002. He was never the same after that. But lads, I'm going to call it quits here. Big up to all you guys in the chat, by the way. Shout out to you all. I'll call it quits here. If you could, lads, by the way, smash the like button on the way out. If you could just smash the like button on the way out. Big up to Johnny and Dell, by the way, for you two being in here. Big up to you guys every single time. Lads, maybe I'll go live tomorrow. Maybe, because I'm off all day. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to call it quits here. Lads, I'll talk to you to get a video out tomorrow or something. But for now, peace.